Welcome to another episode of Jeff and Jamie Feed. You go now.
Okay, I will begin. So today we are going to be talking about all things restaurants and marketing, but specifically social media.
This is your purview.
It is my purview, but has become so important for every business. So even if you're not in F&B, if you're not in restaurants, I think you're going to have a lot of insights here as to how to work better, specifically with influencers.
Well, I can't wait to have this conversation because I thought I was kind of figuring out how social media worked and that how you got people here and how you got likes and everything. I don't know anymore, so I'm really interested to dive into this.
Well, just like everything, there's a lot of changes that are happening, and so we're gonna dive into all of that. But this has had me thinking about us starting out with just Crepe Cellar back in 2009, and how, like, at the time, everybody referred to this kind of marketing. At first, we did a lot of what was called guerrilla marketing, along with this new thing called social media.
Yeah. Our first guerrilla marketing social media was sitting outside at a barrel with a sign-up sheet to get your email address on gallery crawl nights before we were open.
That's right. There were these gallery crawl nights here in Noda that happened every other Friday, and they were a huge driver of business. So many people would come out for these. There were about 12 galleries in the town, and people would pop in and out of galleries and then go to bars and restaurants, and it was just such a fun little street scene. So we, for Crepe Cellar, before we opened up, would sit outside at a barrel and collect people's email addresses.
And just talk to people, tell them what we were doing.
Guerrilla marketing, yes.
Yeah. And
but
we probably did that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we had like 50 emails.
But it was a
Maybe
start.
100.
Yeah, it was a start. And that way, when we opened, people actually knew that this restaurant was coming. But right about that time in 2009, I remember, and because I was actually working a corporate job as well, because you were off playing restaurant. But in my corporate job too, we started hearing these rumors that every company was starting to have a Facebook page.
Right.
And then, so it was like, oh, well, our Crepe Cellar should have a Facebook page, So it was just so interesting. Now it is so threaded into everything that, businesses do, is having that social media component. But when we started, it was just at the very beginning of all of that. So a lot has changed.
And I remember I was such an early adopter for social media and Twitter. I think I was like a 2006
maybe for
Twitter person. But then when we opened the restaurants, I just got completely out of it because I needed to give you the logins to all the things. And they were all tied to my personal accounts back then.
I think.
And now they changed it and you can have corporate ones and whatever. But I just gave it up and I've never gotten into social media.
Yeah, you never have.
But thank goodness you do an awesome job.
Yes, well, we have an awesome team for it. And there are a lot of ills to social media, but for small business, it's hugely impactful. I mean, if you look at, Supperland, we've got 54,000 followers. Leluya Hall just opened this past year, 18,000 followers. Another example is Raining Donuts, which we just closed down. We're switching that over to Olivelli Deli, and that one has 13,000 followers that we'll be able to start with for that new deli concept. We use this for anything from daily specials to last minute seats to patio openings to selling tickets to events. Like, it is huge for us. It's so impactful. So today, what I think is going to be a lot of fun is we're going to bring on Allie Papajohn.
That is awesome.
And Allie, you want to talk about Allie?
No, go ahead. It's your department.
Well, it is. So Allie came on our team right after we opened up Supperland in 2021, and she joined us, and thank God she did, because with Supperland being the beast that it is as a restaurant, so many events happening there all the time, and then also our other restaurants happening, she's been invaluable to our team to just take our social media to another level and just continue to advance what we're doing and communicate. She also does everything from, websites, keeping those up to date, hours online, media relations, PR events, and our influencer program as well. So we're going to dive into all of that. I think I'm ready to bring her on.
Let's do it.
Welcome on, Ali Papa John. I know this is your favorite thing, right? Like speaking on camera, all those things.
I love being in front of the camera.
I know. Well, you do such a phenomenal job with our social media, PR, marketing, and all that. And it was, I felt like one of the big things a lot of businesses are dealing with now is social media and influencers and all that. So I thought, no one better than this girl to bring on. So let me be a proud mom here and brag here for a minute about Ali Papa John. But not only does she do all the work with us, but she has maintained her account, Eat Drink CLT, since 2014, right?
Yes.
She's got over 70,000 followers on there. So if you're not following, be one of those people and catch her there as well. But she covers food and drink all over Charlotte, but also around the region too,
Absolutely,
depending.
yeah.
And she loves this term, but she is a real live influencer. You are.
Jeff loves to talk about how I'm a regional influencer. local influencer, sometimes regional.
You're surpassed the local. You
Well,
are.
so what does it mean to like be an influencer? Because it started out, I feel like people were calling those sorts like food bloggers, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
we call them influencers now. What does it mean? What do influencers do?
Yeah, the term is tricky. It's used a lot. It's not always my favorite term. It feels a little overused, but it's someone who has a page or has some sort of platform that is able to use it to influence people to make a decision. So in my world, it's very food focused, but of course you have your fashion influencers, your lifestyle influencers, anything you can think of. I've kind of leaned towards the content creator aspect because I'm not really putting myself on my page. So it's very much about food and drink. And I feel like influencers are typically putting themselves on there and using voiceovers and kind of selling themselves as part of all of it. But I'm very focused on the product and what I'm eating and drinking. So I like the term content creator because I am going into restaurants and creating content, photo and video to post on my page. So that's kind of the term I lean towards, but it's all related.
Interesting. I never really thought, I can see what you're saying. And I know like, you know, from us working together over the past few years and putting those programs together, but I never kind of delineated between content creators and influencers.
They definitely can be one and the same, but if I had to own a term, I would own content creator probably over influencer.
So for those who don't know out there, can you talk more about like that profession? Like, cause there's more and more people doing that because there's so many different.
Yeah. So many people do it full time. I made my page at the end of 2014 just for fun. Back then there were a very small handful of Charlotte pages. My cousin had just made a page in DC and was posting food photos. And I was like, I just want a platform for food photos. And then like a month or two later, I got my first invitation to a restaurant was to Fahrenheit's 1-year anniversary party.
How fun.
And I got a DM from Fahrenheit invited me. And I was like, why are they inviting me to their party? That's so weird. And from there, it kind of took off. But for me, it's always been fun, something fun to do. And luckily a way to support business and hopefully truly influence someone to spend their money at a restaurant or what have you. But for many, it is truly a profession. So if you can find a way to monetize to a full income level, that is absolutely something that you can do. A lot of people in Charlotte are doing it, more so in bigger cities. New York, you've got a lot of full-time people doing it, but there are definitely a lot of people in Charlotte that are making it their whole career.
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting. And I think our parents' generation find it so fascinating, especially because like you can pretty much work from anywhere other than when you're actually grabbing the content creation. And you can have so much fun doing, like diving into
so fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, what are your favorite parts about it?
Well, I've met an incredible group of people through it that are doing the same thing or similar things. So I've made some of my best friends here in Charlotte just from diving into that world accidentally.
What are their handles?
My bestie over there is the Sweet Soul, Jess. We've been friends for many, many years, and we tag team lots of events together. So we hit up a lot of the same restaurants together or accept invitations at the same time. And so we do a lot together. And then I love Nikki Wolf. She's less of an influencer, more of like a PR representative, but she's out in the scene and she does a lot with the industry. And then my friend Tanya, who does a lot of photography. The four of us always go eat together. I love Heather, CLT Living. There's just a lot of different people out there that have become like true friends from this industry, which has been awesome. Yeah.
I love that. Allie, you know, we'll sit here and jib-jab all day. I feel like we need to let you jump in and ask a question. Jeff's been quiet.
I like to just let you girls go because I don't know the world very well. I always thought that I would have a page, and who am I sharing this with? Only my mom would probably really care about this content.
But it's not true. She's got 70,000 followers.
You have 70,000 followers. I mean, did you ever think that, you would grow? And you've done it kind of strategically and over a long period of time. But did you ever think that so many people would be, following you and care? But
definitely not. It was kind of an accident. Like I said, just getting in early before there were 400 different pages in Charlotte to follow. Right now, you can go on and find a bunch of different food focused, just talking about what I do, food focused pages to follow. And that's awesome. But back then in 2014, that wasn't really the case. So it was a little bit of luck of getting into it early. But again, I didn't know I was even getting into it. I just kind of ran with the progression of restaurants reaching out, it turning into a really fun side hobby for me, and then going from there. I will say my growth probably slowed in 2020. That's when I feel like I hit 60,000.
Well, then you started working for us. So that probably became a little bit distracting.
Yes. No, well, I'm grateful for you guys, because you guys, that's how I met you guys, was through my page.
That's right.
Because remember when
we cooked it?
Havertish?
We cooked it, Grape Cellar and Havertish, and did some behind the scenes stuff.
We did. I was writing for Charlotte Agenda, and which is a whole other side thing. But Jeff and I were at Havertish early. I remember meeting you with the kids here, and then I went to some Grape Cellar dinners. And anyway, so knowing you guys through all that makes this all make a lot more sense too. But no, I'm grateful for the flexibility and being able to support other restaurants while obviously full-time running marketing and social media for you guys. So,
what a great value add though for the city of being able to just go to your page and see what's hip, what's hot in the food scene, and scroll through a whole bunch of food pictures really quickly. It's a really cool channel.
It is, and it helps local restaurants so much.
I like to think so. I hope so.
It absolutely does, and I think that's something that is fun for us to dive into here today. Is just like, how can restaurants out there and please, if you're in another business or whatever, just see this as like a case study. But how can restaurants or businesses work better together with influencers? Because I think a lot of places maybe don't have like a program. We do, and you lead that for us, bringing people in on a regular basis to each of the spots. But how can restaurants specifically get more involved or create a program that helps them create relationships with influencers?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a little bit of, luck on my side that I do know the community and kind of have worked with some of these people for so many years and can figure out who's doing what and who's new on the scene or who's tried and true, trusted. And so that's been really helpful. But honestly, there's such a wide pool of options out there to work with that if you go on and start looking at searching like things like CLT food and just different hashtags and things like that, you'll find some creators pretty quickly. I think it's important to always be mindful of what you're asking. If you decide to reach out to creators and influencers, is if you're going in and asking like, hey, I want to be on your page and I want 2 posts and I want 3 stories and I want you to do this. If it's a more established influencer that might be monetizing or making money, they're going to see that as you're asking for an advertisement, and that might be something that they are going to charge you for. So I think there's a little bit of a strategic in the way you ask. Whereas on the flip side, you might say, hey, Allie, we have a new spring menu. We'd love for you to come try it with a guest. And that's the ask, is making them a reservation. You're comping their meal and they're coming in and having a good time. And then from there, you do leave it in their hands of what they're going to post and what they're going to show, or if they're going to do a story or a feed post or nothing. But you kind of just have to trust that if they have a good experience, they are going to share that experience.
Right. You're not paying them, so you can't be guaranteed something.
When you're not paying, it's definitely, I personally don't think you will have much control over what is shown or getting to review content or whatever, what have you. I always like, even if I'm not getting paid, I like to ask, hey, what do you want to showcase? What do you want in this caption? Is there any specific messaging I can give? And I love doing that no matter what. But as far as the exact deliverables you're going to get, it's a little bit less guaranteed if you're not actually exchanging money for the post or for the coverage.
That makes sense. And it also feels like things have changed so much since all of this began. But I mean, I don't feel like there was any influencer programs that we would do back in 2009 that didn't really exist.
Yeah.
But so you started up in 2014. That's probably about when we started seeing the value of, oh, there are these people out there that have these large followings that really want to share what they experience. And so looking at 2014 versus now, here we are in 2026, what do you feel like are some of the biggest things that have changed in that area?
Yeah, definitely the number of creators and influencers around. Obviously, the pool is huge now. There's so much variety of the type of people that you could work with or the types of things they cover, which is fantastic. So you've got a lot more there. I think you have people that are obviously, just like I've kind of said, more aware of the fact that they can be making money off it. So you're going to have your select people that will come accept the free invitation, take the meal, enjoy themselves, and then cover it after. Or you're going to have a mix of people who don't do that and only accept paid collabs. So like they're going to respond and hit you with their rates, and then it's up to you as a business to decide if you're going to move forward with that. I don't think there's ever any hard feelings when a business doesn't want to pay and they were looking for more of the exchange. That's just the way it still is, and it kind of should stay that way. But I think it's you're going to get a mix of that, and these days you don't really ever know what you're going to get when you ask someone. That's why I think the ask is the important part of making yourself clear, of making sure you're not asking for too much, but
Yeah.
How are you planning to stay relevant and break through as there's more and more? I think you have a great advantage that you have 70,000 followers. So as we find that, like, when we're trying to get our message out, it's muddy out there now. Mm-hmm. But what do you think is the trend, and how do you go about that in the future?
That is very tricky. I would say I'm not a good example of that, because in the past couple of years, it has moved so much towards showing yourself on camera, whether it's casual with the phone propped up, or if it's someone filming you, whether you're eating or holding dishes in your hand and like showing off food. And then on top of that, voiceovers, just making it a little bit more personal. I've kept mine very food focused, and that has not always worked in my favor. I think it's really nice for the restaurant to for visually, but I don't know. I think some people are driven towards following influencers for their personalities and their whatever. Mm-hmm. So that is a little bit tricky, but I do think that is a really good way to connect with the audience. If you decide to go that route, is get a little bit personal, show your face on there every once in a while. I'll throw myself in there once in a while.
Every once in a while. But honestly, we learned that too.
Yes.
Around, obviously the rise of social media was what created this, but it was probably in 2017, 2018 or so. A lot of it was with Havertz. So Havertz opened in 2016. So it must have been a year before that. So 2016, 2017, I really started leaning into turning the camera onto myself and telling the story. And we saw a very large rise in following, in commenting, in just people relating with the brand. And I do think that's really powerful. We saw it from our side. I'm sure influencers see that.
Absolutely.
So, would you be open to doing that? We're putting her on the spot, folks.
You've been the one that has encouraged me over the years to do it, and I haven't really jumped all the way in, but I have seen that work firsthand, absolutely, with the restaurants. With you guys, it has been huge. I think that's a very good part of the strategy that we have for the restaurant social, and it does work on a personal level. There's no doubt about that. I've just kind of riding in my lane of food, focused on food. I try to high quality content. I'm very picky about lighting. I think that's also really important. Is not overproduced.
Do you bring
by
one
high
of those
quality,
lighting rigs with you when you go?
I don't know.
No.
I have a handheld light that I've used sometimes, but I try very hard to shoot
But
for windows.
You're making a really good point here, which is talk about. I want to stay on this because the overproduced versus natural. So stay on that because I think that's so interesting, and a lot of people don't realize
totally
that.
I'm using my phone for everything, and most people are, which is great. And obviously, those are great cameras, but there's no major editing on my end. When it's video, there's obviously you're putting together a video, but there's no lighting edit or anything. When I do photos, I do a little bit of brightness probably to edit that That's as far as we get. But I think keeping things authentic and natural is still very on trend. I've even seen people go even further where it is they're not using any even in darkness, they're using whatever the natural light is in the restaurant. They're propping their phones up on their waters and filming themselves eating, and there's no flash, and it's even more organic than what I'm even talking about. And then you've got people who are even keeping the sound on in videos that you're hearing the natural noise of the restaurant or the conversation, and they're not even putting trending audio on it. So it's really getting deep into that kind of like authentic, organic world. I'm still in the middle of where I'm still using music. I'm still trying to get good lighting, but I'm not bringing a camera. I'm not like setting up a tripod, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously so different for your Instagram posts versus stories where you can maybe show a little bit more blemishes or something there.
Yes, I love stories because it's just a good way to get a quick word out there. Obviously, we use it for the restaurants all the time, which is so good for links and sharing event information and things like that. But on a Eat Drink CLT side, I love kind of recapping. If I've eaten like several places in the last couple of days, I'll just do bam, bam, bam story just to give everyone a shout out. Or if it's a certain promotion that I'm doing, obviously it might be a series of stories, but that's a great platform to have.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that you feel restaurants make when working with influencers?
So if I didn't have Jamie on the team, what would I be doing?
Not me. Allie's running this one.
If you ladies weren't here, what would I be doing talking to influencers? There would be a disaster.
I think you want to be very like transparent up front on what is being offered. So like if you're reaching out to somebody and you're inviting them in, if you have stipulations that you want them to follow, tell them. Like if you need them to leave a tip for the team, if it's not already assumed, I'm definitely team tipping. If you get invited to a dinner and you're there with a guest and you're there during normal service and getting served with a server and everything is very straightforward, besides that your meal's comped, leave a tip for the server. But if you feel like maybe you're working with someone new and you're not sure how they operate, like being upfront about if you expect them to leave a tip or if there's certain menu items that are off limits, like obviously it's okay to say that stuff in a nice way. If you're more comfortable not comping an entire meal or would rather give like a gift card so they have X number of dollars to spend, fine. That's a fine path to go to. So I think just being transparent and honest about what you're able to offer. And then, of course, even doing some research. So if you're reaching out to influencers or content creators proactively, maybe look at their page for a solid while and look at their engagement and see what kind of content they're posting. Maybe look at their engagement numbers because you can most people, unless they hit it, you can see their views and their likes and everything.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so when you say engagement, for those who maybe this is new to, what does that look like to you?
Yes, so many different ways. So the number of comments on something, the number of views on a video, the number of likes on a post, their follower count in relation to all those things. It's a little tricky to determine a good engagement level just on that because, I mean, I have 73,000 followers and sometimes my engagement absolutely tanks. So It's very, very hard in the algorithm these days to guarantee a single thing. That's the other thing. I would never guarantee any number of impressions or likes or anything to any business because you do not know. I posted something last night and it only has like 2,000 views and it might grow, but like, it's just one of those things where.
Well, and we've talked about like, that's, I think really challenging both on the influencer side and the business or restaurant side is you don't know what you're going to get these days. It feels,
you don't know. Yep.
Do you feel like it's more confusing and more wide open than it ever has been?
Very, very confusing. I think it's just really saturated. So it's hard when you think something's going to do well and then it doesn't, or vice versa. And maybe it was something in the current events of the world that was bogging down the algorithm, or maybe it's something locally in your city. I think it's sort of important to be strategic of when you're posting what, like during winter storm announcements, probably not the best time to be posting something bright and shiny on your feed because most people might be on Instagram looking for weather announcements, just kind of thinking about timing wise. But yeah, you're never guaranteed anything. Even some of probably the biggest creators in the world struggle to get X number of likes and views on their stuff sometimes. So
Do you have certain like days and times that you find are maybe we shouldn't tell people because
okay,
they're going to bog
gatekeep. We won't
down
gatekeep.
certain days and times, and then we're not going to break through. So tell them the wrong times. Just kidding. No, really tell them what do you use as like a framework of what days you think post
Totally.
best?
For me personally, for Eat Drink, I actually love a Sunday night because people are normally on their phones, maybe scrolling, not ready to go to bed because they don't want to go to work the next morning. Not me though, because I love going to work.
Because you love your job. Everything's perfect in her world.
And but I think Sunday night's a good one because you're on your phone. A lot more people on their phones. I won't post if I'm going to post in the morning. I try to do 8 to 8:30 a.m. because you're going to catch some people that before they sit down to work for the day, they might still be on their phone scrolling. But after 9, I feel like you've lost people to meetings and driving to work and all that stuff. And then at night, I try to post after, usually after 7 p.m. Because that way, if people are home, they're back home, they're sitting in front of their TV, they're scrolling on their phone. So I definitely do strategically timing posts. And then I have a weird thing with Thursdays. That's like a really weirdly like not good day for me.
I've heard you
engagement-wise.
say this before.
I don't know why. It just seems like posts tend to tank the most on a Thursday. I've noticed it on Eat Drink and on the restaurants. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's my phone. I don't know.
It's a soccer
What it
carpool night.
Maybe so.
Carpool.
Maybe it's
It is our soccer girl.
it's so
That's right.
funny. Yeah, that's a day I'll still post on those days, but if it's like a paid post or something for Eat Drink, I really try not to do that. So just to try to really maximize.
So do a lot of restaurants come back to you? Like you'll do multiple things with them?
I do have a nice, I love the restaurants in Charlotte. I have some really nice relationships with some of them. Like I do a monthly post with Firebirds, which is a Charlotte-born company. They have expanded, obviously, but they are just like a really cool, awesome company. I do a monthly like paid post with Firebirds. I've done some paid post packages with other, even smaller restaurant groups in Charlotte. And then I also have people that are on rotation of, I might not hear from them for 6 months or a year, and then they come back later and we'll do something together too. So I've definitely made some really nice like relationships where people come back, and then sometimes I never hear from someone again. But I operate in a way where if it's an Eat Drink CLT like free meal or paid meal, it's because they approached me. So I don't pitch myself out personally, and this is not how everyone works.
No, it's not.
We get DMs in the restaurants constantly from influencers and content creators looking to come in, which is great. If that's the way they're trying to approach it, that's their method. But for me, well, it's also having a full-time job. Like I don't really, I'm not going to sit there and like pitch myself out and try to book up my whole day because I don't have a whole day. So I'm very reactive where I'll work with a brand or restaurant if they fit as something I like, or I'll say no to them if they reach out to me and it's something that doesn't fit that I would like or might fit my page or whatever.
What posts excite you the most? Like, what do you get lit up about? Like to go do? Is it a new opening of a place? Or?
I'm less the girl to go to for like a new opening. I feel like there are a lot of pages here that are like very good at covering the new openings. I tend to get behind on that, and in Charlotte growing as fast as it is, there's new openings constantly. But my page feels a little bit more, while some of that is mixed in, a little bit more tried and true. So I like when it's more of a existing restaurant that might need a boost or just has something exciting or interesting, or I love a new menu launch. Like definitely love that.
Seasonal menus.
Yes.
You are always so positive. Like you are just so sweet, so nice.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal for me
but
is
she's not good. She is not going to say she likes something if she doesn't, because I've seen
that
you
is true.
on your page with that. Like you're not.
I'm
just
going to go
veer
in,
away.
Yes. So I just omit, and that's again my personal way. There's people around
You
town.
post on Thursday.
Yeah, that's the day. I post on Thursday. I don't like it. No, I really will omit like. If I go somewhere and maybe I was invited and it wasn't the best experience, I'll still maybe give them some love on a story, but I won't dedicate a post to it.
Right.
Or if we go and eat and have like 6 dishes and one of them wasn't that good, I'm not going to talk about the one that I didn't like. So I try to be very true to like my actual experiences and what I actually would recommend to somebody, whether I'm getting paid or not. Like it's just trying to be true to me, because the thing about me is I am eating the food that you're looking at. Like I'm not just going in and taking pictures and leaving. while I might not eat the whole burger or like the whole plate of fries or whatever it is, like I'm taking a bite, I'm making sure I vouch for it, and then I'm either taking it home, eating it, or giving it back to the
You
staff.
take it home to Kevin.
Yes, Kevin gets a lot of delicious food.
Anytime we're doing tastings, I'm like, get a box, take it home to Kevin.
Yeah, that's a nice perk to have in the fridge.
Yeah, for sure. So I was thinking about one of my the times that I felt like we were most effective in bringing in an influencer was Jensen coming in to Supperland.
Yes.
And we were really struggling at that time with the Supperland brunch. We had created this totally unique experience at Supperland that is a buffet style experience. People pay up front. There is this buffet where you go up there across our chef's counter. We have hot foods up there, food right off the grill. We've got eggs Benedict made to order. We've got a frittata. We've got potatoes. And then we've got this center area that has homemade pastries and deviled eggs and Jell-O and ambrosia salad. And then some food is brought to your table too.
It's so fun.
Super fun, so exciting, like really great concept. But when we started, we were really struggling getting that off the ground. And then you brought in Jensen.
Yes.
And it was not a paid thing. We invited her just to come in.
We did.
And if you could speak to how that posted and just the wow factor and the impact.
Absolutely. Jensen is so awesome. Jensen Savannah on Instagram. I'm sure everyone is already following her, but she is here in Charlotte, but she covers a wide footprint of North Carolina things, which is great. But she very graciously accepted our invitation to come in to brunch, and then she very graciously posted a reel, and that original reel I think has 6 million views. Something insane.
It went absolutely
Yeah.
bonkers
It-
viral.
We got
crazy.
We got comment. We were collaborators on it, so when they added Supperland's account as a collaborator, so I can see the insights of everything that happened on it, and I mean it was fantastic. We were getting comments for months and months and months.
And better, we filled up brunch.
Yeah, so on the business side.
No,
yes.
but we're talking about the social media
Yeah, social
side.
media.
6 million people. That's crazy.
we truly felt at the restaurants felt at Supperland the effect of her posting. Like
Yes, and we don't
absolutely.
always.
No, we do not always. Or it's not as always obvious.
You don't know what's
Yes,
working.
You don't know what's
But
working.
this one
you could tell.
And
had impact.
what an opportunity for us, because once we can get people there and do a great job, then
They
come
come
back.
They'll come
Right,
back.
so-
Exactly.
and they bring friends
And
with them.
She's even so amazing where she reposted her reel. I don't know how many. It might have been a year later. It might have been only a couple months later. And I'm pretty sure the repost has 1 million views too.
Yeah, it
So
did.
it was very, very. But those types of partnerships, for lack of a better word, collaborations are. We obviously her platform is amazing and her content performs very well, but that is sort of just luck. Like we got lucky that she hit her audience at the right time. She posted a high quality video that drew people in, and we got to see the effects of it.
Well, and there was something about the authenticity of it. And I don't know what that is. It's hard to measure. It's hard to make someone do that.
Yeah,
you can't do that. But and maybe she does that regularly, but whatever she did there, it just felt like, yeah, you wanted to be at brunch with her.
Exactly.
It was just great.
Her posts are very authentic no matter what. I think even her paid partnerships, which she labels, like they all are very consistent. She even came to we invited her into Layluya Hall a couple weeks ago, and she came in and did a lovely post for us, which was, again, we did not ask her to post. We invited her in. It was fantastic, and she did that for us again. So she's just a great person to have.
Yeah, and here in Charlotte. Yeah, it is, for influencers out there, like I know like every influencer is trying to make a living off of this, or a part-time living, might be a side gig, whatever it is. But like truly you have impact, and I feel like that's something that sometimes goes unnoticed. Like it's not just about your page. Know that you're having a wider reach, where in our case with Supperland, going from struggling to get about nearly 100 people in our door for brunch to then having to increase to having 140 to 150 people in for that brunch service on each Saturday and Sunday, week after week. That provides jobs. That provides income for our servers. That allows the whole restaurant to be able to operate more profitably. And that kind of thing is invaluable.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's awesome. And we're very grateful for it.
Yeah. For sure. Well, what can on the other side? So we're going to flip the table around. We've been talking about restaurants working with influencers. How about on the other side? Like if we have some influencers out there, people who are interested in going into becoming an influencer, even as a side gig, what do you suggest for influencers in working with potential business partners?
I think there's a mix of things there. You can take the approach of pitching yourself out, which we see on a daily basis. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think fine-tuning your pitch is probably important. The interesting part of this group having 6 restaurants is that sometimes we get DMs from the same person and we get the same DM 3 times within 5 minutes. So,
Dear Everondolo.
Yes.
I love Everondolo.
Correct. And that is unfortunately happens quite a bit. So to me, when I see that as the actual
You
social
want them to
media,
be personal and
it
thoughtful.
helps. It helps when it's personal, and it sucks that maybe this person obviously didn't know that these restaurants were related and had the same ownership. But unfortunately for them, I know that. So when I read the DM, I'm seeing that they're clearly sending a copy and paste message to a bunch of different restaurants, which it might work in some cases. For me, it's a little bit of okay, let's maybe think about that approach.
Yeah.
I think there's a really good way to pitch. I actually think finding an email address to send a pitch to is even a little bit better of an idea
Than
sending a
Oh,
DM.
interesting. Yep.
I just think, especially if you can find one that's listed on Instagram, maybe that is going to the social media person. Maybe it's going directly to the restaurant. For us, it goes to the restaurants, but they know to send those to me. So I'm able to see those pretty quickly. But yeah, sending pitches is fine if you're strategic about it. I also think the biggest thing is going out and just supporting your community and spending money. Like maybe go to Everondolo and for brunch. And if you had an amazing experience, and you don't even have to post about it, but if you do throw up a couple stories, then maybe email us and say, hey, we went to brunch at Everondolo and it was so good.
Interesting.
Are you interested in potentially working together on a future post? I actually love that approach.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And then I think just even in general, just spending your money in the community, creating content off of restaurant experiences that you are having organically. Like, I mean, I do it all the time. I take invitations and accept free food, but I also, if I'm not eating at a restaurant that I was invited to, I'm probably eating at a restaurant that I'm spending money at anyway. So for me, just even posting about the restaurants that I'm spending money on or whatever that I just decide to go to on a whim, that goes a long way of showing future partnerships that you're serious about it and what kind of content you can produce. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Does Kevin ever get to decide what restaurant you go to for dinner? Or do you let him do that?
Not too often. I feel like my evening calendar is very calculated, unfortunately. So it's just constantly where I've decided to go or where I think we need to go. Yeah.
I think he's doing all right, but I'm just, I worry about him.
I know. He's okay. Yeah. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. So what about like right now in social media, like where things are right now? What's working? What's not working? Like, what do you think people are shifting away from? And I know we mostly focus on Instagram as our primary, maybe, of course we do emails, which is not so much social, but then we've got, we do Facebook as a result too. We've kind of veered away from TikTok a little bit, but that does seem to be like a very effective platform for some people. For sure.
Instagram, I think, is still king. I think short videos still feel king. I think there's been a case for longer content lately, but I think if you're not hooking them immediately with a longer video, you're going to lose your audience really fast. So I think with the people's attention spans, those short reels and TikToks are definitely still the way to go. And then I do think Instagram is still the biggest platform for us, while it is very saturated. I think TikTok is helpful if you're more into trends, and maybe it's more of the trending audio or like trending dancing, like if you have people involved with your content, or trending, like if you're showing your staff reenacting funny things and doing stuff like that. I think TikTok's a good platform for that. I have a TikTok for Eat Drink that I just post my reels on, basically.
Okay.
But we don't have them for the restaurants, as you know. We kind of tried, but it felt like a whole nother job to potentially do like a trending strategy on TikTok.
So that's interesting, talking about like in terms of like, that's where like a lot of the trending new hip stuff goes. I didn't ever think about it like that, but you're exactly right. Like it's
Yeah, that's where it all seems to launch, and then it ends up kind of trickling over to Instagram. But I think for restaurants, if you're not, our strategy for the restaurants is very like food driven. And while we obviously put in behind the scenes and construction and different things like that, but we're not necessarily getting on there and like doing dances with our staff or like doing different things like that.
maybe we should.
Maybe we should, but
Chris
it also,
Rodzinski.
yeah, it's
love
either
that.
getting them to like, what do they want to do that? Like not forcing your team to do something like that, and also just having the time and the energy, because that's a lot different than trying to coordinate a TikTok than getting some food footage, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, I think Instagram is still just kind of running away with it, but just breaking through all the other people posting on there is tricky. You just kind of have to keep trying.
It's pretty amazing how dominant Instagram has been and continues to be.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
At least in our world.
Absolutely. Yeah. It still feels like the best way to reach a lot of people at once and show something, show off what you're doing. Like whether it is pretty food or the event you hosted or trying to sell a ticket. Honestly, I think of most of our tickets to events we have are sold
You
probably on
guys are
social media.
you guys are so amazing. It's such a great resource for the restaurant group and the chefs that almost anything that we dream of, you guys are able to sell. And I know you work really hard at it, but it's just so cool that we can sell out a lot of fun things, chicken around the world or a speakeasy,
Absolutely.
or a wine party. It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, are there any final comments you want to say to like either influencers out there or restaurants as far as like how we can all work together better, or like, to have impact?
Yeah. I think it's a great tool to if you own a restaurant, to invite influencers or content creators in. I think it's a great tool to use. I think it should not be your only tool. I think you should still try to manage your own social media presence if at all possible, whether that's hiring someone to do that, which is what I recommend, or whatever it is that gets the job done in a quality way. I think is very important. I think that it just shouldn't be your only tool, but I think it's a really helpful tool, especially in Charlotte. I think we have a lot of eager content creators, Instagrammers, influencers that want to support businesses and want to create content, and I think you could find like a great pool of people to do that.
Part-time job type of thing for them to do it.
Yes.
10 hours a week, 12 hours a week, whatever it is.
There's a lot of people like me who had a page and turned it into a job essentially on a different level. So like while Eat Drink CLT is not my full-time job, I get to kind of do that similar stuff for you guys. So it's great to be able to move in that direction. And there are a lot of other content creators or influencers that have actually taken that path. I'm not the first one and not the last one to do that. But it's kind of nice because you get someone who knows the space and has connections and knows what they're doing. So I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah, and is typically passionate about whatever that
exactly. That's
that
my whole
topic
life.
is.
So
it's your whole life.
Yes.
That's so much fun. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us and share these insights, because I know a lot of business owners out there will find it super useful.
I hope so.
You guys are amazing. The job that you do,
Oh, stop it.
It's incredible, and it is out of my purview for sure. So
You just keep cooking food.
Yeah.
Or tasting food.
I love that. I love that.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Again, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We would love to hear from you, and stay tuned for the next Jeff and Jamie feed.